Welcome to the Federal Aviation Administration's Avoiding Airplane Upsets video. This video is a product of the FAA's Safer Skies agenda, a renewed commitment between FAA and industry to develop educational programs designed to reduce the number of aviation accidents.
Hi, I'm Sean Elliott, the President of the National Association of Flight Instructors. One of the most important missions of our organization is safety. Most flight instructors define safety as minimizing risk through quality training and education. The members of the IAC, or International Aerobatics Club, share this definition. The IAC is a competitive aerobatics organization, but more importantly, its focus on safety affects all types of pilots flying all types of aircraft. The IAC has enjoyed an outstanding safety record over its 30-plus years of aerobatic competition. It's because of this expertise, along with the educational focus of NAFI, that the FAA has commissioned the IAC to develop the program you're about to see. I'm certain you'll find the program both informational and educational, but most importantly, I'm certain you'll find it of value in making you a safer pilot.
Mike Goulian can boast such accomplishments as being named U.S. Unlimited National Champion, being a three-time member of the U.S. National Aerobatic Team, and securing multiple medals at the World Aerobatic Championships. Goulian is also a certified flight instructor, specializing in aerobatic instruction. In his spare time, he amazes crowds with spectacular airshow performances. Julie Savage earned her certified flight instructor's rating while completing her bachelor's degree at Southern Illinois University. Julie has competed successfully on the precision flight team at SIU, and in 1999 won top female pilot in the nation at the National Intercollegiate Flying Association Safety and Evaluation Conference. Julie currently flies for American Eagle Airlines based out of Chicago O'Hare Airport. In her spare time, she serves on the foundation board of the Experimental Aircraft Association.
The FAA has identified 6 categories into which a large majority of general aviation accidents can occur. Number 2 on that list is loss of control. The loss of control associated with an unintentional airplane upset has become a popular topic in recent years.
It certainly has. So much so that several airlines and corporate flight departments have added upset recovery training to their recurrent training programs, and even NASA funded a study to determine the potential benefits of hands-on upset recovery training.
In this program, we'll take a closer look at 3 classic airplane upset scenarios. Each is associated with rolling, possibly to high angles of bank. All are accident scenarios that continue to get pilots into trouble. We'll also discuss strategies to help you recognize and avoid situations that can lead to these or similar roll upsets.
But first, let's define what we mean by a roll upset. For our purposes, a roll upset involves any uncontrolled or uncommanded change in your airplane's bank angle. As the bank continues to increase, it usually becomes more and more difficult to maintain the desired heading, altitude profile, airspeed, or attitude.
For example, if you are intending to cruise along in wings level flight at a constant altitude, but the airplane suddenly rolls over to 90 degrees of bank, you are experiencing a roll upset. With this in mind, let's look at our 3 scenarios. Roll upsets have been with us since the beginnings of power flight. These potentially disastrous scenarios have been, and continue to be, concerns that we, as responsible pilots, must deal with.
The first roll upset scenario develops from a botched turn and results in an uncontrolled descending spiral. Although the process leading to this upset can start from any bank angle, it's usually associated with steeper bank turns. While attempting to turn, the pilot unintentionally allows the bank angle to increase without simultaneously increasing back elevator pressure. The pilot is slow to react as the nose of the airplane drops below the horizon.
Airspeed increases noticeably as the altimeter and vertical speed indicator show a rapid loss of altitude. Meanwhile, bank angle remains high due to the natural overbanking tendency of the spiraling airplane. Reacting now to the accelerating nose-low attitude, the pilot instinctively pulls back on the elevator control trying to get the nose up. Unfortunately, this action only tightens the descending spiral.
Frozen on the controls, holding aft elevator, the pilot is unable to recover from the spiral. Prior to ground impact, the airplane may suffer structural failure as airspeed and G-load design limits are exceeded.
The next scenario involves a weather-induced upset. Perhaps as a result of turbulence in the atmosphere, mountain waves, or thunderstorm activity. Flight into icing conditions poses multiple hazards to the pilot as well, including the potential for a roll upset, even if the airplane is equipped with an anti-ice system.
The pilot is flying in instrument conditions on the autopilot. The weather is conducive to icing with visible rain and freezing conditions. Large droplets splatter on impact with the windshield. Small streams of water streak across the side windows. Ridges of ice begin to form on the wings ahead of the ailerons. Masked by the autopilot, the pilot is unable to sense an unusual vibration in the control wheel. The autopilot disengages as the ailerons deflect suddenly to the control stop. Caught off guard, the uncommanded roll causes the pilot to pull back on the elevator control as the airplane rolls inverted. In the third upset scenario, air traffic control sequences a small airplane behind a larger, heavier aircraft miles ahead. The pilot is cleared for the visual approach straight in and is cautioned about the possibility of wake turbulence.
Ambient lighting conditions, however, are such that the pilot of the small airplane is not yet able to see the traffic ahead or its flight path. The winds are light with barely a hint of a quartering tailwind. The air is smooth. Assuming the heavy traffic is flying precisely along the 3-degree VASI glide slope, the pilot of the small airplane sets up to do the same. The pilot begins to fixate on the approach.
As the approach continues, the pilot encounters a bump in the air, followed quickly by another. Then the airplane rolls sharply beyond 90 degrees of bank. The pilot's delayed reaction is a timid attempt to apply opposite aileron as the airplane rolls inverted. The unusual attitude, sudden loss of altitude, and loosely secured seatbelt caused the pilot to pull back on the elevator control.
These accident scenarios actually share a number of common traits. In each case, the pilot did not recognize warning signs until the scenario turned into a full-blown unusual attitude.
The pilot's situational awareness was compromised prior to each roll upset as well.
Corrective actions either were initiated too late or were not applied fully to counteract the increasing angle of bank.
And in each case, the pilot's natural instinct to pull on the elevator control aggravated the situation and detracted from the pilot's ability to apply corrective aileron.
Pilots use the terms roll and bank interchangeably to describe how the aircraft moves about its longitudinal axis. The longitudinal axis is an imaginary line drawn from the nose of the aircraft through the tail.
And we roll about the longitudinal axis usually using the ailerons. And when we use the ailerons to roll, we actually are changing the shape of the wing.
By deflecting the ailerons, we are changing the chord line. The chord line is also an imaginary line that runs from the leading edge of the wing through the trailing edge. When we change the chord line in relation to the relative wind, we are creating an angle of attack.
When banking in normal, unstalled flight, the upward deflected aileron, the aileron on the same side as your roll input, tilts the local chord line forward, instantly decreasing the local angle of attack. This results in a decrease in the net lift on the up aileron side of the airplane.
On the other wing, the downward deflected aileron tilts the local chord line back, instantly increasing the local angle of attack. The net lift on the side of the airplane increases.
It's this difference in lift that causes the airplane to bank in the direction of your aileron input. How fast an airplane rolls depends on several factors, including the length of the wing, the airspeed, and the amount of aileron applied.
For example, a high-performance aerobatic airplane may be capable of roll rates as high as 360 degrees per second, or faster, with very little effort on the controls and little loss of altitude.
Non-aerobatic airplanes, by comparison, tend to bank considerably slower and usually with more effort, especially when the airplane is in slow flight.
But it's not always necessary for the pilot physically to apply the ailerons for an airplane to roll. Environmental agents such as icing and wake turbulence can induce changes in bank angle as well.
Surface winds are reported as light. The air is smooth. Conditions are ideal for strong vortices to linger. The pilot is unable to see the large traffic ahead, but assumes it's flying along a 3-degree glide slope. The airplane suddenly rolls. Surprised and unable to stay securely in the seat, the pilot pulls back on the elevator.
Again, the best overall strategy is to avoid these roll upset scenarios in the first place. Remain alert in the flight environment, heed the warning signs, and be prepared to react decisively should the airplane deviate from controlled flight. Shallow the bank as soon as you lose precise control over a turn. Never fly an airplane into known icing conditions if it's not approved for such flight. Turn off the autopilot and request immediate assistance at the first indications of icing. Give yourself plenty of separation from heavier aircraft. Separation is your responsibility as pilot in command. Don't tolerate uncommanded changes in bank angle either. As soon as the bank strays from your intended angle, even if it's only a little, apply whatever aileron and coordinating rudder is necessary to stop it, and avoid pulling aft on the elevator in the process.
The exercises we are about to describe can be dangerous. It is imperative that you receive competent instruction on the proper procedures involved. Call your flight instructor for a dual session to practice these routines. Do not try them on your own without a check flight.
Be sure to perform clearing turns before and while practicing the following training exercises. And as the pilot in command, be sure to adhere strictly to the operating limitations listed in your airplane's flight manual and posted on cockpit placards. Here's an excellent exercise that not only will improve your aileron and rudder coordination, but also will allow you to explore the range of aileron available in your airplane. In the practice area, set your airplane in a comfortable, slow cruise configuration at an airspeed below the published maneuvering speed. Look over the nose at a point on the horizon. Smoothly apply left aileron and a small amount of left rudder. Roll to 30 degrees of bank, then smoothly apply right aileron and some right rudder. Bank continuously from side to side. Focusing on the aileron as your primary input, rudder actions should be smaller by comparison. Use just enough rudder to keep the nose of your airplane on the reference point. As your skills improve, increase the bank angle to 45 degrees. Begin applying more and more aileron as you roll from side to side. Apply rudder simultaneously, but only as needed. And avoid inadvertently pulling aft on the elevator during the exercise. See if you can eventually apply full aileron while banking from side to side, keeping the airplane on heading and on altitude. A variation of the first exercise involves performing a level turn after establishing the bank. As before, set the airplane in slow cruise below maneuvering speed. This time, pick 2 reference points on the horizon, one over the nose and one off your left wingtip. Roll left to 45 degrees of bank without turning. The instant you reach the target bank angle, quickly neutralize aileron and rudder inputs. Then smoothly apply just enough back elevator pressure to pull the nose along the horizon in a level turn. Upon reaching your other reference point, completely release back elevator pressure to stop the nose on that point. Next, apply coordinated right aileron and right rudder while holding your new heading. Roll to 45 degrees of bank, neutralize aileron and rudder inputs, then pull the nose back to your initial reference point in a level turn. Upon returning to your original heading, release back elevator pressure first, then roll to wings level. Repeat the exercise, each time striving to add more and more aileron when changing the bank angle. Keep your aileron and elevator actions completely separate from each other. Be sure to return aileron and rudder exactly to neutral before applying aft elevator. And return the aft elevator completely to neutral before applying aileron and rudder. Remember, aileron is the primary input here. Rudder and elevator actions are relatively small by comparison. If the nose drops below the horizon and airspeed increases during the exercise, immediately release back elevator pressure and roll back to wings level. Our last exercise is a controlled spiral. Starting from the same slow cruise configuration, roll to 30 degrees of bank. Reduce some power and begin a descending turn. Maintain a constant airspeed down to a target altitude. Try spiraling at 45 or even 60 degrees of bank as well, keeping the airspeed constant throughout the descent. If at any point the airspeed begins to increase, reduce the bank angle right away. Practice the recovery technique for an unintentional spiral when you reach your target altitude. Reduce power to idle, release back elevator pressure, roll to wings level using coordinated aileron and rudder. Then return to level flight. No matter how much flight time you have, don't be embarrassed if you're uncomfortable with turbulence or the prospect of encountering an airplane upset. And don't hesitate to get some instruction if you don't feel competent to practice the exercises we've recommended.
Additional dual instruction, either as part of your next flight review or the FAA's Wings program, can go a long way toward turning your anxiety about unusual attitudes into renewed confidence. Additional flight training can improve your situational awareness as well.
2 resources readily available to help you locate instructors and flight schools capable of safely exploring an airplane's envelope with you are the National Association of Flight Instructors and the International Aerobatic Club. Both are divisions of the Experimental Aircraft Association. NAFI maintains a list of certified and master flight instructors who are dedicated to giving professional instruction. The IAC annually publishes a directory of aerobatic schools. The IAC also offers a complete line of books and videos specifically addressing all-attitude flight. Additional resources include the Avoiding Spins videotape, available from the FAA, the FAA Advisory Circular number 91-51A, effective icing on airplane control and airplane de-ice and anti-ice systems, the FAA Advisory Circular number 90-23E, Aircraft Wake Turbulence, and the pamphlet Wake Turbulence, and the FAA's Wake Turbulence Training Aid, available through NTIS, which includes a report, videotape, and CD-ROM.
Make use of these and other resources and never stop being a student. Strive to learn all you can about the flight environment while staying current with the exercises that we've described. Know the limits of your own airplane, but most importantly of your own skills.
Exercise good judgment and remain situationally aware, especially when flying near the ground. Get some dual instruction once in a while, and learn to recognize the warning signs preceding a loss of control.
After viewing this program, perhaps you have gained valuable insights that will make you a better and safer pilot. Don't stop there. Take the next step. For information on expanding your flight envelope as a pilot, consider joining the IAC. IAC's website can be found at iac.org. If you're a certified flight instructor and would like to expand your abilities as a quality educator, consider joining NAFI. NAFI's website can be found at nafinet.org. Always from the right seat, this is Sean Elliott saying thank you for your interest in safety.
This video was the result of the FAA's desire to tap into the practical knowledge of pilots routinely operating in this area of the flight envelope. To accomplish this, the FAA teamed up with the International Aerobatic Club and the National Association of Flight Instructors, both subsidiaries of the Experimental Aircraft Association, to discuss their views on accident scenarios that have plagued general and military aviation since the earliest days of powered flight.